Brother-in-law peed on my boyfriend's clothes and I can't move on. He was literally peeing next to the bed showing us his banana. He seems to come to some sort of sense and goes to use the bathroom. He did not say anything or give any indication of being conscious. He just walked to the bathroom and finished business. While he was finishing up, I woke my BF up and told him not to move but to wait a second. We waited for Bill to go back to bed before I spoke with my BF. I know this seems like a strange reaction, but I had just been through my biggest fear along with the fact that my brother-in-law peed in the room, a fact my brain hadn't accepted at this point. My BF thought there was an intruder, so both of us were just laying in bed absolutely frozen. It was one of the craziest moments and I literally could only hear our hearts beating because we both were so scared. After my brother-in-law was back in his room, I told my BF we needed to go downstairs because something was wrong. It was like my brain knew what happened, but I couldn't get myself to say it out loud. My BF started to pick up his clothes that were on the floor when I quickly told him to leave them where they were. He had already grabbed one and noticed it was wet. I still couldn't form the words and we went downstairs essentially both in underwear, what we sleep in. Again, I think I was in shock because we made it to the basement before I could type out what I thought had happened. My boyfriend freaked out, thinking Bill had been conscious for the whole time, and we spent the rest of the night downstairs awake. The next morning I faked that I was sick and we quickly left. Since there was pee all over their guest room floor, we thought it would be best to call and let Bill know what happened. My boyfriend called Bill to let him know what happened and told him he should probably clean the floor. Bill was extremely apologetic and embarrassed. He called me personally to apologize and to make sure I was okay. Now the complicated part. My sister is a very kind, loving, sweet individual, but has some unique things about her. She can be extremely judgmental and tends to live her life with many self-imposed rules. Bill is also this way, think old school lifestyle, and has no issues with this. My sister has never been a drinker or experimented with rugs. Bill has experimented with rugs and loves to drink. I think it is his way of getting close to people. My sister has accused Bill of being an alcoholic before, even though he drinks a normal amount. Just because she doesn't drink and doesn't really have a normal baseline to compare his drinking to, she has genuinely been unfair to him about this and my family has told her so. Because of this, my boyfriend and I decided to tell Bill on the phone that we would keep it between us and not tell my sister. Being about a year from this issue, I understand that Bill was sleepwalking and that it is a somewhat normal thing for people to urinate in odd places while being intoxicated. That is not my issue. While the peeing part was very unfortunate and gross, it absolutely soaked my BF's luggage. I feel that I can get over that. The part I'm having issues with is how to move past is him coming into the room I was staying in the middle of the night. My absolute biggest fear while not being able to tell my older sister. Also in the back of my head I question why he suddenly stopped and went to the bathroom. Did he wake up? Ike. Bill has never brought this up in person and we haven't spoken about it since. Every time I go to their place, I have flashbacks of the fear I felt and can't sleep. I feel uncomfortable being alone with him now, especially when he is drinking. Mostly when I see him, it is for family events, so there is almost always alcohol. He always pressures people to drink at events and has now seemed to start distancing himself from my family. He hasn't installed any locks in their house still and I continue to make large piles of items in front of the door just so I can sleep. I simply don't understand why he wouldn't put locks in their house after everything that happened. It makes no sense to me and makes me incredibly mad and uncomfortable. I just don't know how to move past it without telling my older sister or just getting over myself. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Edit, I have gotten a hotel lock and it unfortunately doesn't fit in their door. Any smaller/more universal locks I could get? Story 2. My husband wants to go to medical school, but we are about to have a baby, and his mother is terminally ill. Can I get some advice? Update 3. As someone who has gone to school, worked multiple different careers, and tried to get a broad expanse of understanding, I am not all-knowing, but there seems to be no forgiveness for the misunderstanding of one thing. It is possible to be knowledgeable in certain things and not knowledgeable in others. I am 6 months pregnant, stressed out of my mind, facing a major upcoming loss for someone I deeply care about, and being thrown into a scenario that was completely different from the career choice he told me he was happy he had made this whole time. I'm knowledgeable about the career he works in, not the one he's considering as of 2 days ago. Should I Google search something occasionally before I ask? Probably, but I don't feel that debases my concern, or means that I don't have valuable life experience, just not in this field. I've been called naive and ignorant multiple times, and that I don't have life experience. I spent my life in animal rescue and behaviors, managing child care centers, college, and rebuilding vehicles. I could go off all day about what I know about those careers. I unfortunately don't have the knowledge about this specific thing that I've already apologized for. I'm just asking for help. Update 2. It seems I also didn't clarify enough that this option he's considering isn't his dream job. He told me he loves what he does, personal training, not physical therapy, but is under financial pressure, and can't think of another option. Do you guys have any other options besides telling me to support him? I'm trying to find other options because he asked me to. Update, it seems a lot of people are upset that I didn't clarify my husband is considering going into PT school. I didn't understand that there was a difference between medical school and PT school when I first made the post, or that there are different qualifications. This isn't common knowledge for someone not in the medical field, and when my husband spoke of it in the past he always expressed it as medical school. That being said, that is why I asked for advice in the first place. To educate myself via experience of others before approaching a situation I don't have knowledge about. For those saying I was purposefully hiding it or not educating myself, why do you think I'm asking strangers for advice? I want to understand how this will impact my family before I go into a conversation unprepared with what he is considering. I'm not trying to move this in my direction. I just want what's best for my family and our happiness/quality of life. The different qualifications don't seem to change the fact that we still need full-time income from both of us, which he will lose valuable income with any type of schooling as he will be away from work and we can barely afford our monthly expenses as it is, and that we are caring for his mother and I'm pregnant with our child on the way. Plus, this isn't his dream job. He would be leaving his dream job to pursue school out of necessity, and that we desperately need the time that he can offer as well as mine. We cannot afford care for her, and she isn't covered by insurance and also wants to die peacefully in her home. He doesn't want to outsource her to different care facilities either. He feels obligated to care for her as she has a severe anxiety disorder and doesn't do well in hospital settings. She raised him as a single mother and they have a deep bond. Handing her care off to someone else would feel like abandonment to him, so that would mean a lot of time out of his day. Thanks for the advice. On top of this, I am still a little stung that he has chosen to make this huge life step forward without asking or informing me. It hurts to have to find out through emails because this impacts my life too. My husband, however, is stressed financially. He doesn't make enough money, and I haven't worked in 2 to 3 months due to a pregnancy-related health complication. I'm about to return to work. However, he always has expressly stated he isn't the kind of person to work a job where he doesn't have the freedom to make his own choices, or have to listen to directions from someone he doesn't personally agree with. That's why he enjoys his current job so much, because it has so much freedom. His financial stress is causing him to consider going to medical school, which he said there are multiple reasons he is considering it, but the main cause is the financial stress. But I feel that he is being pressured into this choice and it's not truly what he wants to do. We have a baby on the way, and we also just found out his mother has a terminal illness with about 2 to 3 years left to live. We will have to move back in with her to take care of her as she will soon not be able to eat or use the bathroom on her own. I feel that going to medical school would put an extreme stress on our current circumstances. Going to medical school wouldn't immediately exonerate him from his financial stress, and would add an exorbitant amount of debt to our lives. Additionally, our family is in a volatile position where we need all the time he can give us, due to the baby and his mother's illness. If he went to medical school, he would lose working hours that we can't afford to lose, and he would be away longer to make up for those hours financially. This is very difficult as me and his mother would need his help, or at the very least, if I managed everything baby-wise, his mother would still need him constantly throughout the day, as I'm also working, and can't afford to take care of the baby, his mother, and work at the same time. I tried to express to my husband there are upfront costs to medical school, that we would still have to pay our bills, so he would still need to work, and if he went to medical school, he would miss out on the little time he has left with his mom, and also on the first 3 to 5 years of our child's life, which I personally feel is the most important developmentally. He told me he doesn't know what to do because he isn't making enough money, but I feel him going to school now would make our lives harder and would be even more stressful on him than his current circumstances. We'd be more financially stressed because he would still need to work full-time to help pay our expenses, and there are a lot of upfront costs and factors going to school than I think he is aware of. I would rather live a meager life with no debts, than for him to be pressured into going to school. He would be missing out on possibly the most important years of our lives, and making even less money, and also wouldn't be able to have the freedoms he has now, even if he is a doctor. How can I express to my husband that I don't think this is a good idea? He asked me to give him other options, but I blanked on the spot when he asked me. I just want him to be happy and not live in a career he doesn't want solely because of money. I would go back to work or find a better job before having him go to school. I was helping him with his business today and was checking his email, which I have permission to look at, and accidentally found out he has already applied to multiple medical schools. I plan to talk to him about this soon. Can someone who is a med student, or someone with more life experience and children than us, give me some advice? I don't know what to do. We have no support system, and the only family he has is his mother, who is ill, to help us with childcare etc. I can't help but feel like this isn't what will make him happy.